What do you do when you're looking at your painting and you can't quite figure out what's wrong with it? Now in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I go about assessing my paintings. And in this case I'm going to pick something I did quite a few years ago and looked at it again. Actually I found it in my garage and looked at it and thought, completely forgot about this painting. I had a few second thoughts, maybe just leave it, but I realized with a bit of work on the composition especially, I could turn this into something. So that's what this video is about. I'm going to show you how I assess the painting, figure out what can be done with it, and then get started, and you end up with something that is really impactful and gives you a lot of pleasure. So in this video it's basically a before and after, and you're going to get lots of tips and ideas on how to improve your paintings. So this is the version I initially did about 10 years ago, and I'm revisiting it, having a look at it and making a few decisions about what I like and what I want to change. Overall, the impression I'm getting from it is that it's quite busy. I like the warm color potential of it. That sort of autumn afternoon light is quite nice. But in general, I'm feeling that the composition is not really focused on many elements. We've got this dark sort of improvised bushes over here on the left, and quite a lot of vigorous directional brushstrokes on the bottom left here, which I'm not quite sure is adding that kind of a peaceful energy that would have been preferable. Then there's the light in the foreground, a bit of a shadow, light again, etc. A little too evenly spaced, and I think in the reference itself, if we look at that, the strong shadow in the foreground would have been preferable. Alright, so I did away with that, and with hindsight, I would want the shadow to extend right into the foreground. On the right hand side, once again, quite busy, all of these shapes suggesting bushes in shadow and then light, etc. The fussiness of it, I think, is what's bothering me. The tree has some positive elements to it. It is quite a difficult tree to render. There's a lot of bare branches, etc., and I've tried to bring in a bit more color for that more of an autumn look. The house, perhaps a little large, can be reduced in scale a bit more. I quite like the bicycle. I'm not sure I'm going to keep that, but once again, also down the road on the right hand side of the road, a lot going on. I feel the sense of space could be extended. We could get more of an impression of light, airy atmosphere and depth into the scene. In all, the painting looks like there's no real focus, and there's quite a lot of strong elements that I feel could be brought into the painting. So if we look at that in the reference here, on the left, we have this beautiful strong dark of that tree. There's a garden wall over there which will help with direction. The house, yes, that is a strong feature. There's perhaps some more features on the right here that I can bring into it, a suggestion of this roof as well. And more depth and atmosphere, the road back there extending out into that hazy light. And as I said, the shadow in the foreground. The thing about a scene like this is making sure you have a primary focal point and then your secondary points of interest. So we need to pick something and be certain about it. And just in general, improve the impact of the painting. So it's not a general view where everything seems to have equal attention. I want to get more light-dark contrast and simplify. In general, just simplify into bigger mass shapes of color. So here we go in the rework. This was sort of after stage one, and already I felt that the painting had been simplified quite substantially. So if I have a look at the commencement or the before painting, which is this one over here, and compare it. Let's just have a look on the left-hand side. We can see that this sort of, all of this fussy color and shapes on the left has been simplified substantially. We've brought in this dark mass shape to give it more strength and impact on the left. The wall over here on the left as well is helping to direct the eye to a focal area beyond. The trees, etc., all of the shrubbery, etc., has been simplified into this green shape. We've got the reddish shape up here and this simplified dark mass shape over there. Have a look at the reference. We can compare and see what we've done. You can see a lot more emphasis has been placed with red color here, where I've been inspired by some of the remaining autumn leaves in that tree. Okay, so much more simplified on the left, more direction as well. In the foreground, the shadow is moving right into the foreground, so we step over that into a much more asymmetrical arrangement of shapes. Large shadow, smaller light, another now smaller shadow, and then more atmospheric color in the distance. We can see in the distance there much lighter, more misty. In the original, it's quite a bit darker, and there's quite a lot of details back there that is also bringing that rear section forward and making less room in the painting. Down here on the left-hand or the right-hand side of the road, simplified compared to the original. As far as the house is concerned, I'm also just reducing it in size just a bit, but also trying to simplify generally all the things around that house. So the wooden fence, the bicycle, that's all on the way out. But we brought a simplified dark on the bottom right to link up with the shadow and not to attract too much attention, but a nice spot of light coming through on a bit of that roof showing up on the right. The tree will be an important feature, of course, linking up right to left, but once again trying to simplify that and also push the colors just a bit more bigger autumn shapes and not so spotty and fussy. All in all, the effect, I think, at this point is creating a stronger, simplified composition that is a lot more impactful and also pretty clear on where the focal point is going to be here on the right-hand side, and then taking the eye into the distance. Right, the next stage in the painting, a lot more elements coming into it. What I've done is to give more punch to those autumn colors and just a little more information in the shadows, but very subtle. I put some fence posts along here just to link up this sort of middle area into the building, using strong but bright impasto colors on the face of the building, catching the sunlight, trying to simplify the tree with some darker outlines to the tree and then light colors within those outlines. Slightly more stylized, I suppose you could say, using strong and simplified brushwork on the left-hand side to create sky holes, etc. Once again, let's look at the original completed painting, and we can see the strength overall of the revised composition. Okay, now this is the final painting. All right, so we've certainly developed the colors a lot more, brought in a lot of strong autumn colors. The tree, though, is simplified with this sort of broken dark outline to give it more a stylized or more of a graphic representation. Nice colors within the tree. The darks in the foreground, I've broken those up somewhat with dappled light. I've changed the shadow pattern, added a bit more softer shadows across the road to pick up the tree shapes above. Added a figure for a bit more scale and human interest. Kept the background very atmospheric and light with not much suggested detail back there. Yes, the middle ground over here between the tree and the road is perhaps a little busy still, and that's really just to suggest some of the colors from the trees, perhaps suggesting leaves, etc., that have fallen, but also to link up those colors, bring in those oranges and reds into the foreground area as well, but not too bright. In all, I think the completed version compared to the first is a stronger composition because of the darks on the left extending into the shadow across the foreground, linking up with the darks on the right. It's given it a bit more sort of a vignette feel to it. The tree is a lot more simplified, a lot less spotty colors, and especially on the left, all of this sort of excessive pointillism happening on the left has been removed, simplified, and given a much more colorful treatment with these pinks and oranges against the blues of the mountain in the background. So that's the rework painting completed, and I think overall just a somewhat more simplified painting with a clearer focal area, a clearer sense of direction, and not trying to make everything speak at the same time. So there's so much going on, but rather trying to keep things a little more focused, the building, then down the road to the figure and into the hazy atmospheric background, and then back into the main area. There are different focal points. Of course, the tree is leaning a little over to take the eye up here into the colorful canopy, the road lines and the walls, etc., helping to direct the eye down the road to the figure. The trees on the left also leaning in to kind of create this circular direction that keeps the eye in the painting and is not going to, hopefully, take the viewer out and on to something else, but keep them involved in the painting with lots to look at. Well, I hope this video was helpful to you and it's given you some insight and a few ideas that you can try out in your next painting. Perhaps go back to something that you did a few years ago, re-look at it, and see if you can find the errors, because of course we always make mistakes, and it's a good thing to be able to recognize those mistakes and now figure out how you can fix them and take those ideas into your next painting. Well, if this was helpful, don't forget to like the video as well. It really does help. And check out the free course for you up here. There's something there for everyone, and I hope to see you on my painting school soon. Well, until next time, enjoy your painting, and cheers for now.